Hello and welcome to the Big Bank Theory podcast. My name's John. I'm here with my friend and colleague Dan.
Hello.
Dan, another week, another point. There's finally a point to our week. Or something.
Yeah, solid.
Gary feels he's got a point in life.
Yeah, well, he always did have. And that point is he's a father.
Sure, to little baby Perks.
He's a surrogate father to young Perks.
Yeah.
And to all the Exeter City players.
Is Perks older than Colwell?
Because
he hadn't aged well, has he?
I don't know.
Time has been
they're
cruel
about the
to
same
you.
age, aren't they?
Yeah, probably.
He doesn't look old for his age. He just looks strange.
Well, yeah. Poor fella. No, he doesn't look straight.
I wouldn't say he's somebody that looks old, you know. He's 42. He's the same age as Caldwell.
And
he
me.
looks 42.
Same age as me.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, it was away at Rotherham.
You're not 42, are you? I thought you were 41.
I'm 42.
Oh.
I know, I didn't look it. I look 41, but...
Well, I never.
I know. Sad, isn't it?
Yes.
I remember when I was both 32 and 22.
Yeah.
Now distant memories.
Well, time makes fools of us all.
Certainly does. Time makes, like decrepit gremlins of some of us.
Is that what are you referring to yourself?
I'm referring to myself, yeah.
Decrepit gremlin.
Yeah.
Right, okay. I think you're being a bit harsh.
Well, you'll never know, listener, but I feel like a 42-year-old decrepit gremlin. Anyway, City went to the New York Stadium.
Yes.
Nice modern ground. I saw today on XWeb that the old Rotherham ground is still there, still being used.
By whom?
Like local youth teams and that. It's all still there, like as was. Clocks on the ground, still says Rotherham United outside.
Interesting.
And it looks like a lovely old ground.
Right, okay.
I mean, obviously not modern like the new one, and I'd imagine there were other problems. But yeah.
Well, the problem wouldn't be that it's too small.
No.
Not nowadays.
I mean, they're the old yo-yo club. Not this year, but...
They're supposed to be, aren't they? And
Sure.
I think every time they're like, yeah, we're going down, but we're going straight back up again. Well,
not this
you're
year.
not this year.
And
Not with old Evans in charge.
No,
not this
weird.
time. He's lost his touch.
Lost his touch.
He's a man out of time.
That satchel is empty of ideas.
Yeah.
Man out of time, yeah.
That's who Elvis Costello was singing about all those years ago.
He didn't even know it, but he was.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I suppose because when you're in Rotherham, there's loads of massive championship clubs nearby, aren't there? So I suppose it makes sense.
Well, and Premier League teams as well, yeah.
Yeah, but they're not getting there, are they?
Hey?
Well, they're not getting the away. They're never getting to the Premier League, Rotherham, are they?
No, but I mean, if you're from the area, you might think like, could go Rotherham.
Oh, I see.
Could go, Man United.
No, I was just suggesting their increased capacity was with getting Sheffield Wednesday, Sheffield United, Leeds, bring in 3,000.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
Anyway, by the by, that's where they are, and they welcomed 500 Exeter City supporters.
Yes.
Obviously now home of, well, the much maligned, much despised, I'd say, Steve Evans, and the much loved Sam Nombe.
Yeah, and no place in the team for the also much loved Cameron Dawson.
Oh yeah, of course.
Now I'm sure maybe their goalkeeper's very good, but it didn't look that good on Saturday. And you'd think, I don't know, Dawson's a bit of one of those keepers who's kind of had some ups and downs in his career, really, isn't he? Like,
well, is he still owned by Sheffield Wednesday if they finally let him go?
I don't know. Like, he was excellent for us.
Yeah.
But then for Wednesday, he's kind of been a bit hit and miss, hasn't he? And then obviously Rotherham, didn't start that game. I haven't looked, so I don't know.
I know every year we say, we'd like to keep this keeper. I don't know if we'll say that this year, to be honest. But Dawson's the one that actually, you could have imagined him doing 10 excellent years for us. He always seemed...
Well, he won the league, didn't he, I suppose?
I know that, but
out of all the ones we've had, I'd put Sinisalo like absolute streets above Dawson.
But he was never staying, I suppose.
No, I know that, yeah.
Whereas Dawson, you felt like, that's a shame. That's when the money kind of thing
I think probably, it would have made sense for kind of all parties if he'd just signed for us, wouldn't it?
If he could make enough money to make it worth his while.
He might not have wanted to move to Exeter, but,
Yeah. No, indeed.
For footballing reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also,
Anywho,
Sam Nombe...
didn't have a very good game, did he?
He missed a couple of good chances, I'd say. He's having a good season for them.
True.
But he's not having a good haircut season. Because why has he got that ponytail?
It's his new look.
Yeah, I don't like it. Get rid of it.
He's a good-looking fella, and he looked good playing for us, and his hair's changed many times, hasn't it?
Well, he had like some sort of like cornrow style thing for a while, which I thought looked pretty good.
Yeah.
But
it was just short when he started with us, wasn't it?
Just kind of short, and then he had a good kind of little bit of kind of tight fro, didn't he?
That's right. Oh, that's right, yeah.
I don't like this ponytail addition, Sam. Get rid of it.
I mean, he doesn't listen to us anymore. Never did, probably.
There's no way, of all Exeter City players we've ever had, Sam Nombe is the last one, I'd say, to be checking out an indie fan podcast, you know?
No. Well, it's his loss, because we could give him some good hair advice.
Yeah, I mean, maybe someone's listening to this that knows him and they could pass that on, or maybe you just creep up behind him and chop it off when he's not looking.
I don't think that's allowed. I think that's frowned upon in modern law.
Is that assault?
I think it's assault.
Really? But there's no feeling in the hair.
No, but, you know, someone could have a dead leg and you could kick him in it. It's still assault.
A dead leg? Well, that would still hurt.
All right.
Worse, if anything.
They've got a disability and they can't feel their legs. Still assault.
No, I think that's fine.
It's not fine.
I think if someone can't feel their legs, you're allowed to do what you want to.
It's counts as assault, isn't it? If you attack someone's like anything they're wearing or they've got on.
Is it?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, I would think that would very much depend on what it was they were wearing. Let's use common sense here.
Yeah, let's use common sense and not set fire to someone's clothes.
Well, common sense would dictate that it would be if someone was wearing something really like bad.
Yeah,
setting fire to them is doing them a favour.
Think a High Court judge would view that differently, or a magistrate.
Well, I don't care for them.
All right, fair enough. Anyway, it was 1-1 draw. Is it it's not the New York City Stadium, is it? It's the New York Stadium.
I don't know.
I'll look it up in a minute.
It's nothing to do with New York.
It's something to do with the area of Rotherham and a company that used to be there.
Right, okay.
The New York something, I think.
But is it quite close to the place York? No.
No.
It's nothing to do with them.
No.
Well, I never.
Anyway, it was 1-1.
It was 1-1.
It was a bit of a back and forth kind of game, wasn't it? It was this new kind of Exeter City, new Coldwell.
Yeah, the Coldwell who listens.
The Coldwell who plays laissez-faire with our potential results.
Well, apparently so. No, I think it was. I prefer it, definitely.
Plays fast and loose.
It's still not the most kind of like.
Plays higgledy-piggledy. Carry on.
That's not anything. It's that. It's still not like, it's the most entertaining football in the world, but it's just a bit. It's definitely different.
Well, it's more entertaining. We can definitely say that.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, we kind of played on the counter a bit in this game.
Yeah,
and it was fun to watch, and I think we gave a good account of ourselves. They had several chances to win the game. Nombe being, responsible for a couple of those missed opportunities, but we did well. We defended well again. When they did score, I don't think we didn't fall to bits. I mean, it was just before half time. So
yeah, annoying that, wasn't it?
It was annoying because I thought we'd done quite well to get the whole half and keep it 0-0. And that seems a sensible kind of approach when you're away from home against a team that are higher up the league than you, with some dangerous players. But and then, so it was actually a Nombe shot, wasn't it, that was blocked or saved, and then it was tapped in for the opening goal. I mean,
that's a really frustrating time to concede, isn't it? That's the kind of thing that Coldwell, I'd imagine, would make him sit on his previous principles and say, well, if we'd held on to the ball at this point, or this point, they're not going to be getting those kind of chances at that point in the game. But I'd rather see us go for it a bit and then, inevitably concede.
Yeah.
Not inevitably, but
Well, I agree. And ultimately, it didn't matter, did it? Because we were able to get back into the game shortly after half time.
Yeah.
With, I didn't realise this, first ever EFL goal for Alex Hartridge. In my mind, he sort of tapped in quite a few at the far post, sort of goal mouth. I know maybe a couple of headers. I don't really see him as a headed goal kind of guy.
No.
But I thought I know he scored a couple one in the FA Cup, one in the League Cup. I can sort of just imagine him sort of just like very close in, just sort of smashing a loose ball into the back of the net.
Well, he must have. If he has done so, then there are cup competitions.
Yeah, apparently so. Anyway, this one wasn't quite like that.
No.
It's a shot. I think it's either Trevitt or Colwell has a shot that's inside the box. It bounces up in the air, falls invitingly to Alex Hartridge on the volley.
Yeah.
On his wrong foot.
Yeah.
And if you squint, it looks like he made a lovely connection with it.
If you squint.
Yeah.
If
because
you don't,
in reality, it just really kind of skimmed off his foot. But I'm not taking anything away from him. Well,
it went in the goal.
It went in the goal. It beat the keeper. He couldn't have hit it better, really.
No.
If he had connected with it,
Might not have worked.
it might well have gone over the stand and out of the stadium.
Yeah,
But-
into the old stadium.
yeah. But there's the equaliser. Alex Hartridge. Who'd have thought it? It's a lovely bit of narrative, isn't it?
He's the absolute image of this rejuvenation, isn't he?
Yeah. I always see him as I have this sort of fantasy kind of series of events where Colwell still trying to actually get them to play Colwell ball.
Yeah.
Knocking it around at the back.
Yeah.
Passing it to Ames and whatnot. And then I have this idea that Hartridge is leading the mutiny and just saying, we're not doing that. I'm just hoofing it.
Yeah.
And we're going down the channels. And
you think Gary Cole's been bullied by Alex Hartridge?
yeah.
Right, interesting.
I think that's possible.
Perks goes missing.
They've just taken over, and then they're there shouting on the sidelines. But the reality is,
They're
that's
like
all.
puppets.
That's all for show.
It's all
The
for
players
show.
are running the show now.
Right.
Anyway, that could be
Interesting.
That could be what's happening. That could, but we don't know. We can't ever know really. But
Well, anyway, it feels like
Alex Hartridge, just quickly on Hartridge,
Yeah.
to carry him. He is, to me, the player that I feel like the most connection with in the squad.
Oh, 100%.
Apart from Sweeney. And I know that's just because they've been there long. I mean, Hartridge technically, has left, but and they're from an old time. But Hartridge is an academy player.
Yeah, local lad.
There isn't any other ones playing.
No.
And Sweeney's the only other person that's been there. I can't get enough of the Hartridge redemption story. I love it, and I love him, and I just want him to re-sign for us on a long deal
Yeah.
and just stay there forever.
Yeah, everything's built
I
around
don't
him.
care if he ever what mistakes he makes or anything in the future or in the past. I don't give a shit. Just give him the contract.
Yeah, we've said before this was an unlovable team or hard to love team, wasn't it? We've had moments of like, oh, what are we even... How
Yeah.
do we even support this thing?
There's plenty of players I like in there.
No, yeah, I'm not saying that, but we have said this before. Like, what's the thing we're latching onto here? And we were all so dispirited with it, 2 months ago, maybe slightly longer.
Yeah.
And then he's just been part of...
Obviously, there's Angus MacDonald and Ed Turns as well, who've both been really
yes,
good.
they have.
And as important as Hartridge footballing-wise.
Yes.
But
Well,
it's
maybe...
it's just something about it being him, being back and being,
And also,
the
Dan,
kind of character he is. He just doesn't seem like a footballer to me either. I mean, he just seems like a more... Like, if you compare the two, nothing against Angus MacDonald, but just kind of like... He looks like a footballer, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Just even on look alone.
Yeah.
He just looks like, oh, that's a footballer.
Yeah.
If you saw him walking down the street, you'd say, what job has this bloke got? And it's like,
Yeah.
he's a footballer.
Whereas with Hartridge, you'd say he was either a local auctioneer
Yeah.
or a cattle lorry driver.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I agree.
Or he works in, a bakery.
Works in a bakery
But not
with a
on the-
poorly fitting hairnet.
But not on the counter.
No.
It's not customer facing.
He's in the back, and it's one croissant for the customer and one for himself.
Absolutely. I
And
don't know
you-
if they're making croissants, though. I mean, they are, but it's more kind of like cobs,
He's
loaves.
doing. He's eating his lunch by snapping a loaf in half.
Yeah, for lunch he just has a kind of a bit of bread,
Yes,
a block of cheese, and an apple.
and the apple is a Devon apple, which is kind of more red than green.
Yeah.
but neither one nor the other.
Yeah.
Agreed. But I think
I'm not having a pop of heart. It sounds like we're having a bit of a pop of
No,
heart.
we love
Look,
him.
I think he's a lovely looking guy.
No, I just think you're right.
Just in a different way to McDonald, you know, he just doesn't look like a footballer. He seems more like someone that when you're from Devon,
Yeah.
he seems like somebody that you would know, you know?
Well-
because I don't know anyone that looks like Angus MacDonald, and I know millions of people that look like Alex Hartridge.
Yeah. It goes back to yesterday was the Carabao Cup final. The only player who is from either of the cities that were playing in the final was Dan Burn, who scores the goal, right? And obviously that's what you latch on to. And it's the same with City, but City, of course, is different to Newcastle United and different to Liverpool. We're not a team, we're not a club that's had to be bought out by Saudi Arabia or two Americans who also own a load of baseball clubs. We're a locally owned, fan-owned club, and we've always had this. For 20 years, we rely upon these kind of players, and then it's just drifted, hasn't it, under Coldwell, to suddenly, well, who are we then if we're not a team where there's a lot of academy players and we're not locally... You know,
Yeah.
even with Tisdale, who wasn't from here, and Matt Taylor, who weren't from here, they were so settled here that they became part of it, right? Well, suddenly we looked around and the football's terrible and the results are terrible, and who are we even relating to here?
Yeah. I mean, there's Jake Richards as well.
I know there is.
And
but
there's and a couple others around the squad, isn't there? But yeah, I know what you mean, of
It's
course.
just like-
It's not, it doesn't feel the same as it did. And that's not just because of the results, but I do think there's an element of that being to do with the fact that we used to have, you know, a core of our players
Yeah.
that were always, you know, that you could have felt this kind of like affinity to.
And then all that COVID nonsense, which is now 5 years ago, I realised today.
Are you calling COVID nonsense as in like you don't believe it happened? Or is-
No, in the
Plandemic.
nonsense we all went through the pandemic,
Right.
As in, like, all the good things that we liked had to be stopped for a bit. Rightly so. Just to put my...
Do you remember when we tried to get in to watch Exeter City matches from some sort of journalistic angle before crowds were allowed in? And
the only time we've ever claimed to be journalists.
and we were denied.
We were denied.
denied that opportunity.
We were, sadly.
I mean, fair enough, because this isn't journalism, is it?
No, but it was worth a punt. It didn't
Worth
come
a
on.
try.
We tried to go to Wembley, I believe, is our one attempt, wasn't it?
Oh, we did, yeah.
Instead, I sent a cardboard cutout.
No can do.
Do, lads. Fair enough. But anyway,
I suppose you can't paint yourself as simultaneously as kind of like a fan podcast, kind of like we're just fans. We don't, you know.
we can say what we want.
Yeah, we can say what we want. We're slagging off the Heritage Lounge every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then also going like, oh, can we have some...
And we knew it. We knew it. We were just desperate. Anyway, whatever. In all that nonsense, the team really embodied all the kind of stuff. It was all local lads. Matt Taylor couldn't get anyone in that wasn't basically an academy graduate, and he tried really hard to make it work. So I felt like that really kind of solidified this journey that then culminated in our promotion from League Two, all this stuff, and it just felt it kind of petered out through the Coldwell years.
Yeah, there's also the kind of thing, well, we're different. We've moved up division
Sure.
now, and we've got to kind of like start, you know, all fun and games. Ha ha ha! You got youth players in there. Yeah, very good. That's cute. But now we've got a real manager now.
Yes,
and I'm not just picking from these spuds, these local turnips.
Yeah, turns out our local turnip seller was the man that we all needed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is a roundabout way of just saying that we love Alex Hartridge.
We do, but I also think it could have been a few of the others, but he's such an embodiment of, like you say, he looks like everyone we know. His style of playing can sometimes be agricultural. I don't think Sparks or Collins or even Josh Key could have embodied that in the same way, that this current era of Exeter City, the end of the 24-25 season, when we did stay up for another season and things will be all right for another year, I think Hartridge...
In no small part, thanks to the lone return of Alex Hartridge.
I don't think it is in
It's
small
not.
part. No.
It isn't. He's literally got us a point there.
Yeah.
And in the previous, like, I think he was man of the match a couple of matches ago.
Yeah.
We've kept loads of clean sheets recently. He's played in all of them.
Yeah.
I'm not saying his performances have been perfect, and I'm not just putting it down to him, because the whole team has really stepped it up recent times. And everyone deserves credit, including Gary and Perks.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's just a lovely... I mean, when we're searching around for a bit of narrative at this point in the season,
There it is.
Hartridge is the man to kind of hang that narrative on.
He is. In the same way you'd hang... If you were someone who mainly lived outside, you might hang a portrait of your old nan off the old oak tree.
Yeah, or you'd hang a hammock to sit and eat your block of cheese at
Hartridge
lunchtime.
is that old oak tree.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was 1-1, point. That's 5 games unbeaten.
Yeah.
2 wins, 3 draws. That is safety form.
It's brilliant, and I didn't see it turning around
No,
myself.
Me neither.
So, again, fair dues.
I want to give credit to Coldwell for the turning around. I still want to say, like, couldn't we have done it a bit earlier?
I see. Yeah,
and I know there was the January transfer, and I know there was all that stuff. But there we are.
Our defence. We had to completely rebuild the defence.
Yeah.
This is. I know we've all got our opinions on all these kind of things, but you cannot take anything away from it. Since January, since getting those players in, he's changed the way we've played. It's worked.
Yep.
We're pretty much safe now. We're in really good form. It's good again. You know, it's not great. It's not like unbelievable. This is the best football we've ever seen in life. But no one ever really asked for that.
We never really asked for that. We get that very occasionally in a promotion chasing year. Apart from that, we're very happy to make it entertaining for the supporters and not lose all the games.
Yeah. Hey, have you seen Jay Bird?
Yeah. Yeah. I know.
Jay Bird.
Bigger turnaround than former Liberal Elon Musk.
Was he ever really a Liberal?
Well, it's hard to say now, isn't it? Anyway.
A kind of hideous diamond mine owner.
Yeah, with a...
Let's not talk about Elon Musk.
No, let's not. No.
Jay Bird has been absolutely banging him in, smashing him in for Rochdale in the National League. Yes.
Yeah. Where did he come from? Ireland.
Arbroath. Yeah.
Scotland. Were they Championship Scottish?
I don't know. I think so. They're not in the Premiership, are they?
I don't think so.
Now, if you go back far enough in the podcast, I think you can find evidence suggested. I have always kind of been a bit of a fan of Jay Bird and said I thought there was something about him. Find it if you want. I know we've also said like maybe he's not up to the... Well, we question whether he was up to the League One standard. It's so difficult to tell, isn't it? Because we've up until... You know, Coldwell does play in a really like specific kind of way.
Yeah.
Which, if you look at all the strikers we've had, it doesn't benefit them.
Doesn't benefit almost any of them.
No, but it definitely doesn't benefit the kind of whoever's trying to play in this like number 9 position. Nombe didn't perform well under Coldwell the few times that he was there. Not that he's necessarily a 9, but when he did play up top. Sonny Cox has struggled. McGuinness, while very useful, it's not exactly... I mean,
it doesn't highlight your skills as a striker, does it?
No, so who knows? It could be that Jay Bird flourishes in the National League, but is never going to make it as in League Two, or that it's down to a playing style thing. We don't really know. But
no, he's still our player, right?
He's still our player. I think he's got like basically got a contract to the end of the season, and I think we've got an option to have another year.
Yeah.
So who knows what will happen with him? But it's really nice to see him scoring goals, especially when they look like that one he scored on the weekend.
I know, remarkable.
Against Oldham. Beauty.
Yeah, it's been a turnaround.
It's I mean, it would sting a bit more if we'd not picked up in our form, because we needed to buy a striker in January. We didn't.
Yeah.
In fact, we actually let 2 go.
Yeah.
And then to watch one of them kind of like just absolutely, go on this great run. He scored loads for them. Loads. He scored in pretty much every game he's played, I think. And us to, but
there we are.
Have it.
Anyway, the picture looks much better. We're going to catch up on what that means in a second. Welcome back to the Big Bank Theory podcast. So the league table is all kind of coming out in the wash, really. Just to cover all bases, Birmingham City are way ahead at the top, and Wrexham are starting to pull away from the playoff places. it looks like Wickham and Charlton and Stockport are pretty good for playoffs. The rest, it will be between Huddersfield, Bolton, Reading. That's probably it. Leyton Orient might sneak in. That's definitely it. And then down our way, well, it's not so much down our way now, is it? But Shrewsbury, Cambridge, Crawley and Burton are all in the relegation zone. Crawley, Cambridge and Shrewsbury are well adrift. Crawley are 12 points from safety. Flipping heck. They're not even bottom.
Yeah.
So they're probably done for. Burton are still 6 points behind Bristol Rovers. So there's 9 games to go.
Yeah, but the form is going in opposite directions there.
Yes, it is. But that's quite a lot to catch up. But then I suppose it's only, a weekend, isn't it?
It's plenty of time.
Plenty of time. 9 games to go. Except for us, we got 10 games to go. We're in 16th. So we are 8 points clear of Burton, who are top of the relegation zone, with a game in hand over them. We're in 16th. There's loads of teams around us. Rotherham, who we got the point against, are in 14th on 45. Mansfield directly above us on 44, same as us. We're not going to get much higher than 14th, I wouldn't say, but that's still up for grabs.
Yeah. What did we finish last year? 13th?
I think we were 13th. We're 5 points off 13th and 12th. And then we are 7 points off 11th. So that's probably out of the question. Anyway, who cares? Safety is looking more and more likely. You'll recall that we always say 50 points is kind of the cut-off. Generally, most teams get relegated on less than that. Argyle once got relegated on that about 10 years ago.
Yes.
You
say that every week on this podcast.
I know,
I
do.
like it, though. I like it. Let's keep doing it.
It's useful in it to know. So that's 2 wins. 2 wins should see us to safety.
How many points are the bottom 3 on? 4, sorry.
Burton on 36. Crawley on 30, Cambridge 29, Shrewsbury 28.
14 points from. So let's say Burton need for 50. They need
14 points.
14 points from 9 games. It's tough.
That's a big old ask. 1.5 a game.
Yeah.
So probably.
So we're on the beach basically, aren't we?
Well, we're very close. So we play Lincoln Saturday.
Yes.
Who are there in 12th? They're 5 points ahead of us. Lincoln away. I always get in my mind we struggle against Lincoln away because of all those years in League Two.
Well, we're now back in this little... Yeah, of course. We're now back in this little mid-table mini league, aren't we?
Yeah, we are, yeah.
Because we're playing a lot of these teams around us. Rotherham,
Barnsley,
Lincoln,
Blackpool, Lincoln, Rotherham, Mansfield.
We've got to play all them. So that's...
Wigan directly below us.
Yeah, so we're in this little... It's kind of like a pointless little mini league, isn't it, to see who's going to finish?
I suppose, in theory, we could still get dragged in. In theory, I think one more.
Oh yeah, if things go, but things would have to go quite drastically kind of wrong again, which they may well do. But it also, we'd have to go really wrong, and everyone below us really have to go really right.
Yes.
And I just can't see that. They've all got to play each other and whatnot, and a lot of them, Burton aside. Everyone below us looks kind of pretty bad, and Peterborough perhaps recovering a little bit of form.
Yeah.
But I'd say
we beat Wigan, we beat Bristol Rovers. That obviously puts them further close to it. That puts them closer to it and pulls us away.
Yeah.
I think. Can I now? Will I now say this out loud? I think we're probably safe.
Well, I'd say so. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So. That is...
So this weekend's match with Lincoln was in
some
slight jeopardy from international call-ups, but it's now, just before we recorded, been confirmed to be going ahead. I think that means because Josh McGuinness is not in the Northern Ireland squad, Ilmari Niskanen is not in the Finland squad, them taking a stiffer view of the drink driving charges. That why? No. I don't think that's anything to do with it.
Okay.
But...
He never really plays them, does he? He's a bench player, so...
He's a bench warmer. He does come on.
He's
not in the squad. So the reason... So who we have got missing is basically just Joel Colwill.
Yes.
Who's playing for Wales under-21s. Mm-hmm. Colwill, so far, has sort of not really done a huge amount for us. Obviously, there was some eyebrows raised when we signed him, and Trevitt. Trevitt's the one for me who seems to have kind of like kicked on since signing, whereas Colwill, I thought, has looked, hasn't really done anything wrong, but he hasn't made a huge impact. So we'll be without him, and also Ed James has also been called up to the under-21 squad, and as we were talking about earlier, he's nowhere near playing for the first team anyway. So
He's on loan, isn't he?
Is he?
Isn't he?
I don't know. Anyway, he's not in there, so the game goes ahead. But we'll be without Colwill.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but we've got about 100 players in his position, so
yeah, exactly.
Aitchison comes back in presumably, or Watts, or any number of other players.
Indeed. We go up there and get a win. The turnaround is complete.
You reckon?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be winning.
Well, then you're like 6
There's
games.
every chance of us getting a win there based on how we've been playing recently.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. This is when Coldwell's defensive nous kind of works if we're willing to instigate a kind of counter-attack.
I've just realised that obviously last year it was Diabate who came in and saved us, wasn't it? And this year it's, well, in a way, and this year it's Hartridge.
Do you know what? I really feared for the whole thing, that Stevenage game, wasn't it? And Diabate had a terrible game.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. I think I was thinking, oh, this worked last time.
Yeah.
In a different way, obviously, because he was just back from injury. But so I was very fearful whenever that was, end of January, beginning of February. And then it was worked out very well.
Yes. So what, Lincoln, what sort of form are they in?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, they are, like I said, they're in 12th, 5 points ahead of us. Out of the last 5, 1, 2, but lost 3.
Okay, so yeah, mid-table form.
They thumped Bristol Rovers 5-0.
Of course, that was at the weekend, wasn't it? Yeah.
But and do you know what? They beat Reading 4-1. No, Crawley 4-1. So they've got some goals in them. These are all at home. They lost 4-3 to Barnsley, and they lost to Burton.
So they have got goals in them for sure. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it now. Looking forward to that match. And then
it gets busy, doesn't it? So there's nothing that next week evenings, but then it's 2 a week.
First 2 weeks of April is 4 games, yeah, and then you've also got, just after that, you've got the kind of Easter kind of double.
The Easter flurry.
There's only 2. It's only 2. So is 2 a flurry? No, I suppose maybe it's not, because there's also a Saturday game. So you've got Friday, Monday, Saturday.
Yeah.
Around the Easter celebrations,
and then we're almost there.
We're very nearly there. Yeah, there's not long left after that. Yeah.
Okay, very good. We've had some emails, of course. Remember, you can email us if you want to. Not you, Dan. Don't bother. You've got your own podcast. But anyone else can email us if they want to. bigbankpod@gmail.com. More City connections. Lee Jenner has been in touch to tell us that he sold Jamie
It's a very
Curitan.
Exeter name, isn't it,
It
Jenner?
is. It's not. Yeah, I knew someone called with the same name but different person. When Lee worked in JJB, for our younger listeners, that was a precursor to Sports Direct.
Well, it was one
Same
of the
place, wasn't it? In fact,
one of the many sports shops we used to have.
used to have many. You wouldn't believe it, kids.
There was so many.
There were so many. Who's Shoes?
Yeah. Giles Sport,
Giles Sport.
Intersport, X Sports,
Tony Price.
Tony Price, yeah,
JJB. And then JD that came later, etc., etc. There were loads of them. But JJB was the kind of best one for football boots. They had a wall of football boots, didn't they? And used to be down where next to where McDonald's is now.
Yeah.
And then, was where Sports Direct
Well, you could
is.
buy Exeter City shirts from there as well.
You could.
Yeah.
Anyway, when Lee was working there, he sold Jamie Curitan some boots. Like, that's mad, isn't it? Professional footballers used to have to go to JJB soccer.
Yeah, not in those days. That's just normal.
That's normal then,
you need
isn't
some
it?
football boots.
Nowadays, they've all got like dealers and agents who get them, like source them some boots.
Yeah, I think they still have to. Most of them still have to buy the boots. I think they do.
Yeah, but you're not doing it. You're not.
They got
queuing
dished
up.
out a load for that FA Cup game, didn't they? But I think that was like a kind of a big deal.
You're not queuing up behind me and JJB to get like.
Well, no,
you've got these in a size 10, mate.
Yeah.
No, sorry, Jamie Curitan. No.
Yeah.
Weird.
That's
Weird
a good
time.
one, isn't it?
That's a really good one. So good. Thanks, Lee. Anyone got
Scored
any
a lot
more?
of goals, those boots, presumably.
Certainly did. Anyone else got any good connections? bigbankpod@gmail.com. Yeah. Anything else you want to tell us? How's the season been for you?
Well, I think we know.
I think we know. Don't tell us that.
Yeah. Well, also, so we talked last week about this upcoming Trust fan forum, exploring the idea of a rebrand.
It was kind of a presentation followed by like questions, right? Basically,
yeah, it's just to see what I think basically it's to see what the opinion was on having a rebrand. That's not limited to having a new club badge, but I think probably that was to be included in the rebranding process.
Yep.
And I was going to go, and then I just didn't have. I'd work, and didn't have time basically. And it seems from accounts on XWeb, mainly from Ryan Cooper, that it kind of descended into a kind of embarrassing sounding kind of
people moan
sesh. It's maybe just from a handful of people, but who just seem to be really against the whole thing in principle, which sounds like it misses the point, to be honest, really, because the whole idea is this is we're just kind of floating the idea.
It's kind of consultation, isn't it?
Yeah.
Go and talk constructively about it.
Yeah, I guess, and then there seemed to be, I think they might have been quite focused on the new badge, and then basically saying we don't want to spend any money on a new badge.
We've turned into, just in a few quarters, like, as we've talked about before, I work with local charities quite a lot, and when you've got 10 grand in the bank, you literally have to watch every postage stamp that you buy, right? We're a multi-million-pound organisation that we've specifically shown through some of the recent projects and work that we've done that improving what the club looks like, and I mean like PR-wise, but also literally what it looks like through your eyeballs, helps. And yet we've still got some people in the ranks who are like, got this view of like, it's my money. Well, it isn't. You pay a small, tiny contribution towards the running of the trust, who then, and you can vote on this, choose whether to share this money with the club or not. And yet we've got this real sense of like, so small time that I'm going to go along to a public meeting and be a weird local person about it. Well, I mean, what's that about?
I don't know. It's the same when, when people wanted rid of Coldwell.
Yeah.
They were sort of, a lot of people this is some just sort of fools on the internet, really, isn't it? But this one was in real life.
Yeah.
But around that, it was kind of like, well, how are we even to support a support-owned club if I can't decide when I want to that the manager? Now, yes. I wanted the manager to be changed as well.
Yeah.
So I'm not disagreeing with the principle. What I'm saying is that's not exactly how it works, because we have elected board members.
Yep.
Who you can vote for.
Yes.
If you don't like what they stand for, or you feel like they haven't served the purposes of the manifestos they ran on, then you don't vote for them next time.
Yeah.
That's how it works. You can't just go like, well, what do you want? To every single trust member.
Well, you're in the danger.
Then it's impossible to make any decisions ever. That's why you elect a board.
And then it's why they
employ
a manager.
Well, yeah, and then they act on kind of club business, like having a rebrand, for example.
Yes, it's madness. Like, I mean, honestly, we're one step away then from everyone getting like a bleeper when you come to the ground. You're like, we get to choose who the substitute is, do we? Like, don't be ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I realise I'm being glib so that's embarrassing. This man, who seemed to be presenting these ideas, like, very poor representation of our club, isn't it? Like,
sounds it, yeah.
Go and it's like some trolls from under a bridge come and shout at you. Dear me.
Yeah. Well, there's another one tonight, online only. So
yeah. Well, it's easier to mute someone online, isn't it? So
yeah.
I don't know. I feel like going. I wasn't going to go because I think like, well, people know more about this stuff than I do, and I trust people. I trust people to have good opinions who go along to that stuff, and then I trust the club. But it makes me feel like go into that just so there's some normal people who can nod enthusiastically and give the thumbs up. And, is that what we've come to?
Well, I think a better approach would just be to hear him out. And then if you don't like the proposal, just say thanks, but no thanks.
Well, of course, yeah. But I don't want to be embarrassing with like only 10 people come to the meeting and 9 of them are goons.
Yeah, totally, yeah. Anyway, that's just what if people don't want to rebrand, then we won't have one at the end of the day if it goes to a vote.
Yeah.
But I'm not convinced that things like aesthetics and like the kind of and the look of something and PR and things like that, I don't necessarily think should really be a massive part of the democratic process anyway. I don't think it's really important enough. I think you want to have good people who know about that kind of stuff and let them do their thing, and let them and think, well, this is somebody who knows about this sort of thing. Us lot don't.
Yeah.
It might be. I don't think that. I'm not sure why these people are so keen to hang on to the current branding, and if they're talking about just the badge, then there's nothing good about the badge. It's just the city crest. We've only used it for some of these people's lifetimes, my lifetime but we've only had it since the 80s. It's not like some historical kind of like piece of our footballing heritage. Like, if they're that worried about it, we used to play in green. Do you want to go back to that as well?
Indeed. It's I wonder, I don't know, because I wasn't at the meeting, whether it was supposed to be just kind of like a generic consultation that often big companies do to just maybe get some good ideas and maybe not. I also wonder if it was the club anticipating that in the future someone would say, nobody asked me, and saying, well, we did ask you, and you came and made an ass of yourself, so job done. Obviously then the fellow who's had to present it is kind of collateral damage in the process. Now we pay him an extra day's wages for the trouble he's had.
I think so. The guy recently redesigned the Cambridge badge.
Yes,
we've talked about Cambridge's shit badge in the past. He's got a new one now, and they voted on. They did have. I'm not sure who. I don't know how it works at Cambridge, but I think they had basically three options for a badge. This is not. I don't know if it's for the whole branding of everything, and they chose one out of the three options.
And as we saw with the shirts, people can do that, and we might not be especially keen on what they choose. But
that's the other thing. Like, we voted on they give us the opportunity to vote on the third shirt, and they chose that one, and it's horrible.
Be gone, won't it? Oh no, it's the home kit that goes this year, isn't it?
We're going to keep that one for another. That's 2 years of that. It's the word. It's horrible. And then when they didn't choose it, we got the blue one, which is really nice.
Yes,
and the home shirt, which is really nice. Well, it's not. They're fine.
Yeah. We'll see. But I wonder if we might have a kind of closed consultation, so not a voting, but they choose a demographic share, and a few people go along and then say, oh, I like that one, I don't like that one, so at least they can say it was part of a process and some people got asked. That might make more sense,
maybe,
because then you can ignore if you think like, well, they're still wrong. At least you've had the process. But you're right, like loads of badges get updated all the time, Cambridge being the current one. Some people on Expert put some useful examples and you're like, oh yeah, I can see. I don't know anything about this stuff, but I can, when I see a better one or one that's changed for good reason, I think, oh yeah, I get that.
Like
I said, I would understand it. I'm the kind of like, I like traditions. I'm not against keeping certain traditions, and I would fight for certain things. For example, if this was a debate about moving the ground,
yes,
I'd be very much in favour of not doing that.
But that's life changing.
Yeah, but also exactly. That's more important. I get that, but but there's no. Why would anyone feel that why are we so tied to this branding that we've got currently? Like, I feel like the badge is a small part of it. I don't think there's anything special, particularly about the branding generally for the rest of the club. I just don't think we've really got any. I think it's just kind of like a culmination of just various things over the years, which have just ended like, I think I'm not talking about the kind of online stuff that the social media people do, because that's something different. That's just, they're allowed to express themselves with it, to do kind of like match day graphics and stuff, and that's cool. They let them do whatever they want. They're good at it, and they're employed to do that. But in terms of like the whole branding, I just don't think we really I don't think we really have any branding, because like I said, it's just a kind of like hodgepodge of things that have just come over the years. And the badge itself is the city crest, which no one even knows why it's got these unicorns on it.
Pegasus.
Pegasi, and then on top of a red and black shield, which looks crap.
Well, indeed. So, I mean, in fairness to the club, they're always trying to kind of hone things, aren't they? And this will be good to see what they come up with. And then we can get back to moaning about the pasty supply line again, can't we?
There's plenty of things to stick the boot in about, and stick the boot in we will.
I tell you what, those vegan pasties taste a bit like they got a boot in them. So.
They do, yeah.
Stuck that boot right in my
Yeah.
gullet. All right. Well, we wait and see how the online one goes, and then honestly, I'm genuinely interested what they come up with.
I got work tonight, but I'm going to try and tune into
Oh,
it.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I also, this is something we can start to talk about, want to see what they come up with next year for the home shirt. Nice Adidas. Maybe they'll branch out a bit with something a bit different.
Well, maybe, but I don't get your hopes up.
No, I shan't. All right. Well, we'll be back after Lincoln, so early next week.
Yeah.
Until then, hope everyone has a good week. My name's John. I've been here with my friend and colleague Dan.
Cheers.
See you soon.